things just took a shocking turn, and a new report reveals a wild update about the Rams' projected 53-man roster heading into training camp later on this week. All that and more on this episode of Rams Digest. And welcome back to another episode of Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Finehirsh. And before we get into today's episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 4K by training camp. That is 4K, and we have until this Thursday, July 24th at 11:59 p.m. to hit that goal. And we're around 130 away right now. So let's make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell down below. Click it, turn it to press all so that you get notified whenever we post any daily new Rams Digest video content covering all things Los Angeles Rams, so you never miss a post. And now getting into today's main story. And also, before we do, like this video right now. It is training camp week in the NFL. The Rams have one of the later training camp start dates, but a lot of camps are opening for everybody today and tomorrow. And Rams rookies report tomorrow as well. So it is a start of camp, and let's make sure to hit that like button right now. And now heading into our main story of the day, we have a projected 53-man roster from Rams Wire going over all of the major cut moves and major battles for this roster heading into camp. And there are a few shocking omissions from this 53-man roster that we're going to get into right now. The Los Angeles Rams opened training camp this week with rookies and veterans reporting to Layla Marymount on Tuesday. This is when jobs are won and players attempt to stand out in practice in hopes of making the 53-man roster for Week 1. Though many of the starting spots on the depth chart are already locked up, there are position battles on both offense and defense that will shape what the roster looks like for the start of the season. And yes, that is true. As you see, Tuesday, the first day of players report, that is where the work starts. It's training camp season now. It's all about what can you do for me right now and for the season for these players on the bubble that we're going to talk about today. Starting off with quarterback, our shocking omission, our thumbnail of the video. We only have two, as you see, Matthew Stafford and Jimmy Garoppolo. Stetson Bennett is really the only other quarterback with a chance to make the team. Dresser Wynn is on the roster right now, but he was signed to be more of a camp arm and a preseason backup than anything. All eyes will be on Bennett this preseason as he tries to make the 53-man roster for the third straight year. And before we get any further into this, I gotta talk about this here, just because what the Rams are doing right now is they are really leaning on the health of Matthew Stafford. Based on this article from Rams Wire, if Stetson Bennett does get cut, you're only leaving two quarterbacks on the roster, with Matthew Stafford, who's getting older, who has a weak left tackle position as of right now heading into the season on that starting O-line, and has had some injury concerns since joining the Rams. And as your backup, you have Jimmy Garoppolo, who's had a bunch of injury concerns as well throughout his career, especially with the 49ers. He kept on getting hurt there. That was one of the reasons why they decided to let go of him. And for the Rams, only leaving two quarterbacks who are both older. Garoppolo's sneakily like 33, 34 as well, because he was a backup for all that time in New England before he finally got a chance to shine. That you're really banking on Stafford being healthy without having a guy like Stetson Bennett on the roster. Because if Stafford goes down, which we hopefully he doesn't, I'm knock on my wooden desk here to make sure that doesn't happen, but if Garoppolo's your only other quarterback on the roster, you don't have a backup plan in case he goes down, because he's had injury issues too. And Stetson Bennett, again, it's not ideal if he's playing, but you at least have a third guy on the roster for that reason alone. And comment down below right now, do you agree with that? Because without a third quarterback, you're only left with one active quarterback if Stafford does get injured. If it's only for a game, and you're probably going to be okay, but if Stafford has to miss 3-4 games, which again we hope doesn't happen, then you're really kind of screwed. If Garoppolo gets hurt, who are you going to sign? I mean, Ryan Tannehill is technically still an active player that if you really need to go into the free agency pool there, but that's really the only guy I could think of that would make any sense if you were needed to sign someone off rip or off of the free agency market. And if Stetson Bennett gets cut, I could easily see him being on the practice squad still, just so that you have a quarterback who's still in the system throughout the season. Make sure to leave your comments down below on that right now, though, because that's definitely an interesting move already. Now, heading into the running back position, kind of chalk what we expected. Kyren Williams, Blake Corum, Jarquez Hunter, and Ronnie Rivers. Cody Schrader and Jordan Waters are two sleepers at running back, but there isn't much room for them on this roster. They'll likely need to overtake Rivers in order to make the team, which is by no means impossible. However, Rivers is a favorite of the coaching staff and someone who brings special teams value as well. Yeah, Rivers is not really going to be seeing the field much this year on offense, more of a special teams guy, as this says. I fully agree with this. Kyren Corum, your number 1-2. Jarquez Hunter is a guy who I think as the season goes on, we'll see what he needs, because we heard McVay say today that offensive coordinator, Mike LaFleur, is going to be off of his leash. Or leash, I should say. He's going to be off of his leash. And because of that, he'll be able to call some more explosive plays, some different plays using that 12 personnel that I mentioned in my last video. So we will see how that impacts this offense. And with 4 running backs, I do agree if you're going to keep 4, Ronnie Rivers is the 4th. Those top 3 are on the team. But again, keeping 4 is not a big deal, but I could see potentially only 3 making the team as well. Now heading over to wide receiver, you got the 6 guys that we all kind of expected. Puka and Devontae as your top 2. You got Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittington, Kenona Mumpfeld, and Xavier Smith getting that final receiver spot. I had this as in my wide receiver battle video that I made recently. After this one, go check that out. These were the 6 guys I had making the team as well. Britton Covey is one to watch in this group, and not specifically as a receiver. He and Smith are the Rams' primary return specialists heading into camp, and whoever performs better on special teams could wind up securing a spot on the roster, with the other being cut. Mumpfeld is a 7th round rookie, so he's not a lock to make this roster whatsoever, but in all likelihood, he will secure a spot on the 53-man roster. Yeah, I agree. I was a big fan of Mumpfeld coming out of the draft. A lot of people in the Rams brass and front office were as well, so I do see him making the team. But this is an important battle. Covey versus Smith. Again, Xavier Smith has the familiarity with the Rams, but Covey does have that season in 2023 where he led all the NFL in punt return yards, and that was the Eagles' down season. And obviously when they won the Super Bowl, he was a little bit banged up. That's why he's not back with the Eagles, and now he is a Ram. And also another guy to look out for. I'm a big Mario Williams guy. I said it in my receiver battle video. I'll say it again. I think he's a guy to really look out for in this training camp to potentially take that spot away from Mumpfeld, because one of Smith or Covey's on, whoever performs better. But I think Mumpfeld's biggest competition is not Xavier Smith, is Mario Williams. And make sure to comment down below, do you agree with the wide receiver decisions? Yes or no? And now we go on to tight end. We got 4 here. We got Tyler Higbee, Terrence Ferguson, Colby Parkinson, and Davis Allen. And not much surprise here with this group, especially now that Hunter Long is gone. Higbee and Ferguson are locks, but Parkinson will need to earn his spot on the team, considering the Rams can save $5.25 million in cap space by cutting him. Allen is also on the fringe of making the team, but he's young and promising enough that he should stick around on the 53-man roster for at least a little while longer. Yeah, I do agree. If you're going to keep 4, these are the 4 that you keep on the roster. Again, the Parkinson contract's not great, as we've gone over in videos recently, but he is definitely a better option than Davis Long to be that 3rd tight end, because you need 3 tight ends on there. And I trust Parkinson on the field more than I trust Davis Allen, although Allen did catch a touchdown in the wildcard game, if you remember that, in the first half. But he's still a young guy. It's okay keeping 4. Again, you can swap out Allen's spot for Stetson Bennett, and I don't think you're really missing out too much there. And comment down below right now as well. Who would you swap out of this roster right now or at the end to make room for Stetson Bennett? Because I believe you need 3 quarterbacks on any NFL team in order to be a successful quarterback unit. So comment that down below right now as well, as we get on to the next part of this video. We got offensive line. Some very interesting names here. We got Alaric Jackson, who's still recovering from blood clots, Steve Avila, Coleman Shelton, Kevin Dodson, Rob Havenstein, Bo Limmer, DJ Humphries, David Quisenberry, Dylan McMahon, and Warren McClendon Jr. Definitely an interesting group right here. It's difficult to sort out this group, especially with Jackson's blood clots. His status is still uncertain to start the year, which is very important. So it's going to be really big to see who can win that job right out of training camp. Humphries and Quisenberry should both make the team regardless of whether Jackson is healthy or not, providing depth at each offensive tackle spot. McMahon and McClendon have a lot to prove, especially with Justin Dedich and KT Leviston both vying for roster spots as well. Now this is the interesting part. If Jackson is healthy, do you keep both Humphries and Quisenberry? You definitely keep one of them. I would take DJ Humphries because I think he has a higher ceiling as an O-lineman than Quisenberry. But we'll see about that, because Jackson, as I just mentioned, still does not have a timetable for his return. And that's very important for this Rams team, because one of these 2 guys, DJ Humphries and David Quisenberry, are going to be the starting left tackle heading into the season. Again, I trust DJ Humphries more because he's had starting left tackle experience in the NFL. But both guys are going to be on the team for right now. Again, McMahon and McClendon, I think, do make it. Especially McClendon, I think, is going to get in over these 3 guys. I think McClendon has the most versatility. You can make a case for KT Leviston over McMahon, but I don't think Justin Dedich has a real shot to make this 53-man roster. And the O-line is pretty set. Again, if you want to make room for Bennett as well, you can take out one of Humphries and Quisenberry, or maybe one of McClendon and McMahon as well. So definitely see how how that works for the Rams. And I do think one of those guys can end up on the practice squad if one of those guys are cut as well. And now we got the defensive line, switching over to the defensive side of the ball. You got Kobe Turner, Puka Nacua, Braden Fisk, Tyler Davis, Ty Hamilton, and Larrell Murchison. Deshaun Johnson gets left off of this projection, but he remains a fairly promising player who's entering his third season with the Rams. He and Murchison will be battling for one of the final roster spots, attempting to hold off a group of undrafted rookies. That includes Texas defensive lineman Bill Norton. I'm a big Bill Norton guy. I do think Bill Norton has an outside shot to make this roster, or at least the practice squad, because again, he's a big guy, he stops the run, and we all know the Rams had a lot of trouble stopping the run all throughout last season, so it's going to be very important that they're better at that going into this upcoming season. Again, the top 5 guys are set: Turner, Ford, Fisk, Davis, and Hamilton. We'll see who that 6 guys. Murchison's definitely an interesting include over Norton and Johnson. I kind of think both of those guys are better than Murchison, and comment that down below right now whether or not you agree. Now heading on to outside linebacker, we got Jared Verse, Byron Young, Josiah Stewart, Nick Hampton, and Brennan Jackson. The Rams' edge rushers are really promising, especially with the arrival of Stewart in the draft. Verse and Young will lead this group, but Stewart, Hampton, and Jackson will all get a chance to prove themselves as role players on defense. We've heard a lot about Josiah Stewart having a really great minicamp and OTAs, so we'll see how he looks in training camp, but especially in the preseason. He's one of the guys I'm looking out for in the preseason, as well as Terrence Ferguson, how these 2 guys will play. Because those 2 guys, are Chris Paul Jr., are going to be the 3 rookies who are going to make the most impact on this Rams team. Yeah, there's no surprises here with these 5 players. These are the 5 outside linebackers that will be on the roster. No questions asked. And now we have to move on to our next position group. We got inside linebacker going outside to inside. We got Omar Speights, Chris Paul Jr., Nate Landman, and Troy Reeder. No position group is more widely up for grabs than the inside linebackers. Any of the 4 players above could be starters, while undrafted rookie Sean Dolak is one to watch following his record-setting senior year at Buffalo in 2024. Paul is an exciting rookie, and Landman is a newcomer who's already received positive reviews from his coaches, so they could make some noise in training camp. I do agree with the first 3 names on that list. I definitely see Omar Speights, Chris Paul Jr., and Nate Landman on the team. I think those 3 guys are going to get significant playing time. However, I'm out on Troy Reeder. I was more in on him when I first started on this channel. As to now, I've kind of done some more digging, and I love Sean Dolak. A lot of you in the comments really talked really highly about Sean Dolak, and I looked at the tape. I see why. He is an amazing player, and I think he has the best chance of any undrafted rookie to make this roster, because I think Troy Reeder is kind of feeding off of the familiarity aspect with the Ram system right now rather than results and helping the team win on the field. And at the cornerback room, we have some interesting names here that have been cut. We got Darius Williams, Ahkello Witherspoon, Kobe Durant, Emmanuel Forbes, and Josh Wallace. Williams, Witherspoon, and Durant are locks to make the team, with Forbes giving himself a great chance to do the same this offseason. Sean Jolly is a slot specialist who could be a decent backup to Quentin Lake inside, but Durant and Wallace can also play the slot, so depth should not be much of a concern. And when I say people have got cut, I mean based in this article. I don't mean in real life. No cuts have been made just yet with this Rams team. So interesting, I agree. Top 3 are locks. Again, you got a guy. I do think Sean Jolly is a better fit than Emmanuel Forbes. Again, a guy like Darion Kendrick as well, who they cut and brought back. Although they already cut him once, so they'll probably cut him again. I do agree with Josh Wallace making it. I think Josh Wallace is a very solid backup as well. But again, the Emmanuel Forbes just has not really proved much at the NFL level. I've been hearing good things about him this offseason. Again, the preseason for the Forbes and Kobe Durant battle, along with Darion Kendrick battle, with Wallace, Jolly, Forbes, and Kendrick is going to be such a great battle to watch throughout this preseason, because it is going to be a dogfight to see who ends up making this roster out of the 3. Safety, we got 4. We got Cam Curl, Quentin Lake, Cameron Kinchins, and Jalen McCullough. Curl, Kinchins, and McCullough all had strong seasons in 2024, and will be back this year, with Lake potentially operating as a defensive signal caller once again. This is a position group with a lot of potential after seeing Kinchins and McCullough tie for the team lead with 4 interceptions each last season as rookies. Yeah, I definitely agree. Those are the 4 safeties who should make this roster. I'm kind of out on Cam Curl being a good spot for being a good piece rather for this Rams team. I do believe Kinchins and McCullough are both better and both should get more playing time than Cam Curl. Quentin Lake, obviously being the leader of that group, is just such a versatile piece defensively. But again, Kinchins and McCullough, they have great ball skills. They each had 4 interceptions, as that article says, I think they should get more playing time over Cam Curl. A comment down below right now whether or not you agree with that. And our final position of the video, special teams. And in the words of Sketch, you got special players, special plays, or special teams, special plays, special players, rather. And that is how you play good football. And for special teams, you got Josh McCarty, Ethan Evans, and Alex Ward, a long snapper. With no backup kicker, punter, or long snapper on the team, all three of these players are safe and ready to roll in 2025. Yeah, I agree. Ethan Evans, awesome punter. I mean, he kicks the ball. That is what a punter does. They kick the ball. But he really, he gets 50-plus yards every punt, it seems like. He's amazing. Our long snapper's been great. He's been snapping the ball straight to the point. And Josh McCarty really improved as the year went on. As a fellow Josh, I want to see him succeed as well. And again, special teams is very important. In the words of Sketch, is special teams, special plays, special players, right here, right now. And that makes great football. And that is all for this episode of Rams Digest. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button as we are on the road to 4,000 subscribers by training camp. We're around 130 away. We want to hit that goal by Thursday, 11:59 p.m. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Turn on that notification bell to all so you do not miss any daily new Rams Digest videos and you get notified whenever we upload. Leave in the comments down below your thoughts on the roster overall, especially the Stetson Bennett cut, because that does not make too much sense to me. And who you leave off, and leave some practice squad guys down below. I like Mario Williams on the practice squad, Bill Norton on the practice squad. I do think one of the corners who gets cut can be on the practice squad as well, so leave that down below in the comments. Like this video for training camp week. We are no longer in the offseason. We are in the preseason training camp season. I've been your host, Joshua Finehirsh, as always. Thank you very much for watching another episode of Rams Digest. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon for another one, and have a great rest of your day.